Hey everyone, this video is an overview of module number 3. So there's 5 things that I want to go over very quickly in this module and for what you're going to do this week. 1, I'm going to go over the textbook. 2, my Social Lab. 3, optional resources. 4, I want to go over the Facebook post. And 5, I want to go over the Chapter 1 quiz. So before I do that, I want to pull up this picture right here. First week of school, right? Everybody's feeling really good. We're all very excited, and we definitely should be, not discouraging any of that. But then we go to all of our classes, get the course syllabus, go buy all the books. And for this particular class, you log online and wow, there's all of this stuff to do. And so by the second week of school, here we are kind of looking a little bit like this. And students are not the only ones. Trust me, your professors are looking this way too. So congratulations, you all have survived your first 2 weeks of school. And the good news is the first 1 to 3 weeks are the roughest. So it's like you're just getting oriented toward all of your classes as well as campus and your work schedule and trying to balance all that stuff out. So you're doing really good. Hang in there. So let's get into this week's material. So over here, I haven't opened it up yet. As soon as I'm done and I add this video, then I'm going to open it up. So it's really important that you read all of this information right here. This is just a little narrative overview of what you can expect to do this week, and also a little bit about why. So the first thing it says is that we're going to begin reading our assigned textbook. And so that's The Essentials of Sociology, A Down-to-Earth Approach by James Henslin. And so here is what the 12th edition looks like. This is the cover. And here is the 11th edition. And so because we had a mix-up, you can use either the 11th or the 12th edition for this class, so long as you get the My Social Lab access. And we'll go over that in just a minute. So one thing that I just want to say about Henslin's book, and the reason why I teach with Henslin's book, is because Henslin is the type of sociologist and also author that really goes into the field. So he is, hanging out in, real life experiences, and he's writing about these different experiences that he has, and then he's applying sociological concepts and theories, and then writing about them to help us make sense of sociology and our everyday lives. So when you, open up chapter number 1 and begin reading, don't skip out on these really cool vignettes that he uses at the very beginning to orient us towards sociological thinking. And so in this particular opening vignette, he is talking about an experience that he had doing ethnographic field work. And in chapter 1, you're going to read about and you're going to learn about different sociological research methods. And so one of them is ethnography. And so what that means is you go into the field and you live really among the people and with the people that you're trying to study. And that's what Henslin does. He lives with people in the homeless community. And so here he's writing a little bit about some of his experiences and trying to bring that to life for us. And it continues on to the next page. Here he talks about one really interesting thing is an experience he has called culture shock, where he is sipping on a hot cup of coffee and he looks down and he kind of sees these teeth marks on his styrofoam cup. And he's like, no, that really can't be what I think it is. And so he just, keeps drinking his coffee, and then he, heads over to put his tray of food, on the old conveyor there for the folks to wash it. And what he sees is them washing out these styrofoam cups. And so his stomach gets real queasy, and he's just, really living this life of, what it's like for folks to be homeless. And, something that is a little bit cautionary about that is that although sociologists will go into the field and they will live among and try to walk alongside folks that are experiencing something, there are certain things that we can never experience. And so for all of you, you're going to go out into the field and you're going to work in maybe a community kitchen and you're going to be serving, hot meals or working in a food pantry. And so you're going to be in the field interacting with folks, but there's some things that we will never be able to experience. If you remember from the film The Line, that stigma, that judgment that people feel when they go and have to ask for help and how other people treat them, we can go into the field and we can try to experience, but there's certain things like, that stigma of having to, get help, and that judgment and that treatment, those are things that we may never fully be able to experience. So keep those things in mind. The other thing I want to point out about the textbook and the readings for this week is the sociological imagination. And, I didn't mean to do that. This is probably the single most important learning or takeaway that I want you to get from the sociology class. And the sociological imagination, as you'll read here, C. Wright Mills, he brings this, coins this term and brings this to us. And basically what this means is that this perspective allows us to see human behavior, right? To see ourselves, our lives in a broader social context here, a broader social context. And that is really critical because oftentimes we have explanations for our own lives and we have explanations for other people's lives. You see here, there's a homeless person down here in the bottom corner. And so oftentimes we will try to make sense of homelessness or this person's individual experience by individualizing, by just looking at that one person outside of a broader context. And so as you were able to see in the film Inequality for All, there are economic factors, right, that we have to factor in to understand homelessness. There are cultural factors and social factors and for sure political factors that we have to factor in. And so that's what C. Wright Mills, he tries to point out to us, is that we have to understand people in a broader sociological context. And so in chapter 1, you are going to read about different theories. You're going to read about different, founders of sociology, and each one of these sociologists and each one of these theories brings a different way of looking at our social world and helping us to make sense of it. So read the book. I really encourage you to read the book. I know sometimes, we got a lot of classes that we're balancing and we don't always get an opportunity to read through the book, but I really encourage you to do that. So how do you get the book? Some of you have already purchased it. You can buy it at Fresno State. I think they have the 12th edition there. You can buy it directly through my Social Lab. And so in the module folder, in module number 1, as well as I went ahead and put it in this one as well, if you click on this title right here, then you will be directed to this handout. So this literally provides you with step-by-step instructions for how to register for my Social Lab. Literally, go through each of these steps one by one. Here is the instructor's course ID number that you're going to need. Go through these and you are going to get registered for my Social Lab. And so this is what the My Social Lab website looks like. And so for students, see here, you're going to get registered right here. Go through those step-by-step instructions. When you register and purchase access to my Social Lab, if you don't want a hard copy of the book, you can get an e-text right through my Social Lab. So you don't have to go to the bookstore and buy the book. You can purchase access through my Social Lab, and automatically get a copy of the e-text. So I'm going to just click on the sign in. I think it's going to take me my login stuff is already there. So once you sign in, you're going to see a list of different classes. Those are old classes that I've had in the past. But here is our class. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to redirect me inside of my Social Lab. And so here you see there is a copy of the book. You can read the e-text. If you're a commuter, you can listen to the book. And the main thing that you need to know about My Social Lab after you get registered and get all set up is you're going to come over here to the left, and I'm not sure if on your side it looks this way. This is the instructor's view, but you're going to click on Course Calendar. And when you click on Course Calendar, a calendar should pop up on our screen here. There it is. And so every week when the module is due, right, it's due on Thursdays by 11:59 p.m. So if you click on Thursday, since that's the day that everything is due, then once you click on that box, then you're going to see a list here of what are the requirements for My Social Lab. So you're going to read the text, either the hard copy or the e-text. You're going to take a quiz, and you do have 30 minutes for the quiz. There's 15 multiple choice questions, and after you read and review all the materials, you'll click on that. There's some flashcards. These are optional but very helpful. And this week there are a couple of videos. So you'll click on this video, and these are animated and they're really engaging, and they are intended to help you make better sense of what you're reading. So that's the basics for My Social Lab. So let's go back over here to our module, and there are some additional resources that I've provided. So last semester and the semester before, previous semesters, students did a chapter learning guide, and those were required. But this semester, I'm making those optional resources. And so this is what they look like. So if you were to click on this right here, then this learning guide will open. And basically, it is a way to help you read in a more active way. So as you're reading about the sociological perspective, if you find it to be helpful, and trust me, students have, then as you kind of read, you're going to answer these questions. So what is the sociological imagination? You'll read about it in the text, and then in your own words, you can kind of type in a response all the way. And this is kind of like an outline of the chapter. And so then what's helpful about this is not only are you actively reading, but you're also creating a study guide for your quiz that you can use when you take your quiz, and also a study guide for the exams. So I encourage you to do the learning guides, but those are optional. And then another resource that is in here are chapter PowerPoints. So I did make the 12th edition and the 11th edition PowerPoints available. And so this is very helpful. As you can kind of see here, I'm just scrolling through. It basically pulls out the nuts and bolts of the content that you're going to be reading about in the text each week. And so here are some of the founders of sociology listed here. And so this is just a way to kind of pull the content out for you. And so those are optional as well. There's also an optional video right here. So I've tried to find, helpful resources from YouTube and different places to help students really grasp the content. And that's where you all are going to have an option to do that as well. So each week you are going to go over to our Facebook group page, and you're going to post one weekly reflection. And so I want you to choose, and I put here, right, choose the most interesting, maybe the most surprising or helpful thing from the material each week. And I want you to kind of post a reflection of how it makes sense, or we can apply it to everyday life, as well as how it applies to your service learning experience. And then that way, everyone's kind of sharing ideas and making good sociological connections. So that is the overview of Module 3.